Wait a second. They made a video game for Foster's Home? I was binging some nostalgia content on Instagram the other day, trying to recapture a happier time before I knew about like health insurance or global warming or the goon roll. Now, while I was scrolling, I came across a clip from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It was one of my favorite shows growing up, but for some reason, I kind of just forgot about it. I probably haven't seen an episode in like 20 years. Oh my God, I can feel my knees turning to dust just saying that. So yeah, it's been a long time, but I always remembered really enjoying the show, so I don't mean to brag or anything, but I did do a little bit of research. I know. And it turns out there is a Game Boy game for it. So I say let's hop on eBay and see if we can score ourselves a copy. So I would like to try and find a complete copy. That way I can display it next to my copy of Silly Bands for DS. So these kind of look like loose games. These are stock images. Those are probably loose as well. All right, so sealed copy is $300. That's not exactly what I'm willing to pay for something like this. After scrolling through all the listings, I think this is gonna be our best option. It's $11. After shipping and everything, it should be just over $15. Plus they have a sick background for their pictures, dude. It's gonna take a couple days to get here, which is actually perfect because it's gonna give me an excuse to force my wife to watch a couple episodes with me. I scooped myself a big bowl of Bucko batter ice cream. Yes, it does look that vibrant in person. That's kind of why I love it. It feels like I'm chomping down on a big bowl of Play-Doh. Except a little bit less salty and probably less healthy. Yeah, we sat down with our treats and enjoyed a nice night together with our pals from Foster's. So after watching a couple of episodes, I found myself completely in love with this world all over again. I love how fun and colorful the art design is. And with them being imaginary friends, I bet they had so much fun creating all these little creatures. I swear Cartoon Network ran a contest where viewers would submit drawings of their imaginary friends, and then the winner would get theirs put into the show. I'm like 90% sure that was a thing, but I can't find anything about it online, so I'm gonna take it upon myself to run my own contest. So if you're feeling inspired, draw out your own imaginary friend and send it to this email right here. We'll feature some of my favorite ones in the next video. But back to the show, it was a lot funnier than I remember. There's a very specific style that Foster's Home uses for their humor, and it's just so out there.
Somebody spilled juice.
Okay, one more thing before we get into the game. I'm editing this video right now, and I tried finding a clip of the scene that we were just talking about. So I looked up Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends Tongue Feet, and I discovered that there's a pretty strong community of Frankie Foster foot lovers. So I clicked on it, obviously, for the video, and I just need to show you guys some of these comments. Her feet looks beautiful. I love Frankie's feet and toes so very much, and I love my favorite show when I was a kid. There you go again, hitting home run feet clips as always. Aw, look at her sleeping like a baby. All right, this is just starting to bum me out a little bit, but you know what? I had to see it, so there you go. You guys had to see it too. Frankie Foster, more like Freaky Foster. Yeah, I mean, I think the show aged extremely well. Like, we really enjoyed watching it, and I could see us watching through the rest of the series and having a pretty good time doing it. Did you guys hear that? Oh, I think it's mail time. I wonder what it could be. It's the game. I'm gonna go grab that. So I ran outside to find the package the mailman left just for me. And with visions of Frankie's feet, or blue, dancing in my head, I tore open the package, and I was brought to tears by what I saw. Look at that subtle off-gray coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my God. It even has cover art. After recovering from the initial shock of handling this masterpiece, and with my excitement at an all-time high, I threw it into my DS and booted it up. On October 17th, 2006, Crave Entertainment blessed us with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends for the Game Boy. You control either Mac or Blue as you go on all kinds of wacky adventures throughout the house. The game is structured into episodes, each one following an actual episode from the show. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and with how different and crazy each episode of the show is, they had a huge selection of really interesting ideas to choose from. Unfortunately, the game doesn't really do any of it justice. Besides the little cutscenes at the beginning and end of each episode, you really wouldn't be able to tell what episode it's based on because every level is exactly the same. I would call the game a platformer, and it does surprisingly have pretty tight controls. Like, it feels pretty good, but the level design is so minimal, and every level is just a fetch quest. So they'll give you something to go out and collect, and then you have to walk around the house looking for everything and then bring it back to them. That's pretty much it, with the exception of one stealth level and a few boss battles. House of Blues is the first episode, and it follows along with the pilot episode of the series. Mac's mom thinks it's time for him to grow up and get rid of his imaginary friend. So after hearing the news, Blue sees an ad for Foster's Home and they go for a tour. And this is where the level begins. Frankie gives you a list of items for you to collect to calm Duchess down, because that's our problem now for some reason. But this serves as the tutorial, showing you how to move around and your abilities. Mac can double jump, and Blue can roll in a ball to reach small spaces and throw little paper balls as a ranged attack. The game decides which character you play as, so there's not any strategy involved in picking which character would solve that problem the best. They just hand it to you and say, here, use him. But you go around and you collect the 5 items that Duchess needs, and she chills out. And then Madam Foster makes you some cookies and tells Mac that as long as he visits Blue every day, he won't be put up for adoption. The next episode is Dinner is Swerved. This one almost broke me. Mac and Blue are hanging out on the roof, just taking in the views. But eventually it's time for Mac to go home for dinner. But they don't remember how to get back to the lobby. So you run into Charlie, who is finger licky good, and he helps give you directions to get back down. But he warns you to avoid all the friends in the area, because they're gonna try and eat you. Yeah, alright, this dude, he's built like a fruit roll-up. I could rip him in half with my bare hands if it came down to it. But if you bump into him, the level ends and you gotta restart. So to get past them all, we have to be stealthy. And I really do appreciate them trying to do something different. But they can go to hell. And I'll see them there after this game drives me to the fucking brink. So you gotta hold the up button to hide behind these objects so that these enemies can pass you. Mac looks terrifying whenever he's hiding, by the way. The problem is, you can't see the enemies until the screen starts scrolling. But once the screen starts scrolling, they're already too close anyways, and they just catch you right away. You can't tell where the fuck they are until you walk right into them. So you just kind of have to get lucky and hope that they're on the other side of the room. And when I tell you this level took me so fucking long to finish, like, the amount of times I just jumped off a ledge straight into an enemy because I got unlucky, I had to quit for the day. Like, I could not keep playing this game. Once you get past the stealthy part, it turns into like a time trial, and you have to slide down a bunch of rails to get down to the bottom before you run out of time. We eventually reach Frankie for dinner, but we're too late and the kitchen's closed. So it's kind of like the whole thing was for nothing. Okay, so it's the next day. I've cooled off a little bit, and I think I'm ready to finish the game. Battle of Brothers is the next episode, and the first of 3 boss fights, which unsurprisingly are all the same. It's the standard boss fight format you'd probably expect from a game like this. You stun them and then hit them 3 different times. It's really nothing that crazy. Mac Daddy is really where we start to see the gameplay get very fetch questy. Cheese wants to build a go-kart, so we need to find 10 sprockets spread throughout the house. We go around and find those and bring them back to him. It felt like the game was just trying to waste my time, and unfortunately that continues exponentially in the following episodes. The Trouble with Scribbles was one of the episodes that really stuck in my mind from back when I was a child, and one of the ones that we rewatched recently. So you can imagine how disappointed I was when I found out this is the worst level in the entire game. Possibly the worst level of any game that I've played ever. And I played the Camp Lazlo game, so Blue opens a secret door, releasing a sea of scribbles. So we have to round them up and put them back in the closet, which is kind of like the real episode, just without any of the jokes or any of the character that makes it enjoyable. Also, there's 38 of them to collect, which should be a crime against humanity. And there's nothing to make it interesting. The further you get into the level, it's all the same. You just have to collect them. It's pretty horrible. Who Let the Dogs In was my favorite episode from the show. I mean, come on, look how cute these guys are. Eduardo finds a box of puppies, which are not allowed in the house because Harriman is scared of dogs. So just like the episode, you need to collect all 8 puppies before he finds out. This was probably the closest the level got to its show counterpart. It's pretty much exactly what happened in the episode. In Busted, Blue breaks Madame Foster's bust into 14 different pieces, so you go on a fetch quest to collect them all before she finds out. Seeing Red is our second boss battle. Terrence's imaginary friend, Discount Meat Boy, is here to beat up Mac and Blue. It plays out the same way as before. You stun him and then hit him 3 different times to finish the fight, and then Mac and Blue become best buds with him. And that brings us to our last episode, Duchess of Wales, and it's broken up into 2 different parts, the final level and the final boss battle. In part 1, we see Duchess being adopted by some freaks who live next door to Mac. They annoy his mom so much that they're planning on moving to Singapore just to get away from them. Some crazy logic from mom there. The gang steals Duchess out of the apartment and brings her back to Foster's. In part 2, we see Duchess and Terrence team up for one final boss battle. Again, for one last time, we stun and shoot them 3 different times to defeat them. Mac doesn't have to move to Singapore, Duchess is welcomed back to the house, and everybody lives happily ever after. Except for me, because I had to play this game. I'm gonna be real honest here, this game was an absolute chore to get through. And I know it was made for little kids, but you find me one conscious human being on this entire planet that thinks collecting 38 scribbles is a good idea. I think if you're old enough to have developed object permanence, then you're probably too old to be playing this game. And while I'm complaining, we gotta talk about the soundtrack. Oh my god, it's so bad. Each level loops through a 10-second audio clip, and that just keeps playing over and over again for the entire level. I had to throw on some of my own music to keep myself from losing my fucking mind. I think the soundtrack is a prime example that they just didn't care. It's clear they just phoned it in, relying on fans of the show to be too young or as stupid as I am to realize that it's not worth the plastic it's made of. Which is a real shame, because I think a Foster's Home game done right sounds like it would be really, really fun. That's all I got for you guys. I'm gonna go check out some more of those foot videos for research purposes. All right, peace out.